Good evening to everybody. Welcome to this Licensing Subcommittee A meeting. My name is Gareth Sykes. I'm the Governance Officer for this evening, and I'm going to introduce the meeting by going through very swiftly the remote meeting protocol before we get to the first agenda item. So the remote meeting protocol is as follows. Only speak when invited to by the chair. If you wish to speak, please raise your hand, and you can either do by physically raising your hand, but also in Google Meet there is a raised hand button as well at the bottom of your screen. To raise your hand and direct all communication via the chair. Please ensure that your mics are muted when you're not speaking. When speaking, please be succinct and do not exceed the allocated timeframes. If referring to any written submissions, please refer to the specific page in the agenda pack. Any new evidence can only be submitted at the discretion of the chair and agreement of all parties. If you're having any technical difficulties, please use the chat function in Google Meet to alert the meeting or dial in using the details in the invitation. Please do not use the chat function to put formal questions to the committee. Any persistent disruptive behaviour will result in your removal from the meeting. And this last point doesn't really apply because we've only got one item on the agenda for this evening. So obviously, once we finish that item, we will ask the various bodies like the applicant and the responsible authorities to leave the room, and that will formally end the meeting. And then the councillors will go into discussion about that decision. So that is the remote meeting protocol. So we'll go to the formal agenda now, which is in your pack and has all been sent to everybody, beginning with the election of a chair. Over to you, councillors, please.
I nominate Councillor Smith.
Thank you very much, everyone, and welcome to this licensing subcommittee meeting, Thursday the 9th of February at 7 o'clock. There it is there, this is the hard copy. Hopefully you've all got an agenda in front of you, either virtually or hard copy. The agenda is in the inside sleeve of that document, which is there. One second, a bit floppy, which is just here. I was going to mention the situation in Turkey, Gareth. We had a little discussion about that. Do you want to maybe lead off on that?
Yes, I was just I was going to say to the applicant and also the members of the responsible authorities, we were going to do a minute's silence if we may because of the earthquake that has happened. So I'm not sure if we want to start the earthquake, the minute silent now.
Yeah. Yes,
okay.
Please.
Well, we'll start from now, so we'll do a minute's silence.
Okay. If you just time it, Gareth. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, according to my watch, that is a minute. So
thank you very much for that, everyone. I don't want to dwell on that incident, but it is absolutely horrific. Anyway, and you know, my heart goes out to all of the people there that are suffering at the moment. Okay, so let's move on then. So we've got the agenda here. We have basically we've done agenda item 1, which is the election of chair. Agenda item 2 is apologies for absence. We haven't received any today. Agenda item 3, any declarations of interest from members? I'm taking that as a no.
Councillor Patrick, would you be able to confirm that you have no issues?
I have no interest.
Yeah. Councillor Ross? Any declarations of interest?
I have no interest.
Thank you very much. Agenda item 4, minutes of the previous meeting. To confirm, there's no minutes have been submitted for approval today. And agenda item 5 is the hearing procedure, which I'll just run through very quickly. It runs in steps, step 1 through to step 10. So step 1 is the appointment of chair, which we've done. Step 2 is where the principal licensing officer will outline the report. Step 3, the applicant will present their case for 5 minutes. Then we will have step 4, responsible authorities. And today we've got the police and we've got licensing. Planning have submitted in the pack, and environmental health have also submitted in the pack. And I think we've agreed conditions with the environmental health team at 8.1, page 46 of the book, of the pack rather. And then step 5 is other persons would come in if there were any. That would be members of the public, for example, residents. We don't have any this evening. You'll be glad to hear, so that will save us a bit of time. Step 6 is a discussion phase over 15 minutes. Step 7 is closing remarks. And then step 9 is essentially we'll just ask all the participants to leave, and then we'll go off and consider the case. You can get a skeleton decision by phone tomorrow and a written decision hopefully within 5 working days. So moving swiftly on, we can do a few introductions because I forgot to do that. I'm Councillor Smith, Stoke Newington Ward, and also Chair of Planning. Councillor Patrick.
I'm Councillor Sam Patrick. I represent Kings Park Road.
Thank you very much. Councillor Ross.
Chair, I'd like to, sorry, just to clarify, Councillor Ross is actually only observing this meeting. She's not actually sitting on the committee this evening.
Okay.
So it's
Sorry, I
observing
was
the meeting.
confused about that because her name was
Yes,
actually.
I'm sorry. Apologies. Unfortunately, there was a typographical error.
I did mention that
Apologies.
previously,
Yeah.
Chair.
Oh, sorry, I missed that. Don't
Sorry.
only said that because she's on the agenda.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
it's okay.
I am
Councillor
on
Ross
the
is just
agenda.
observing this evening.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And I've also made that aware to the applicant that Councillor Ross, Councillor Walker, and Councillor Goldberg are just observing this evening's meeting.
Okay, great. Mr. Stewart.
Good
So
afternoon.
it's the
Good evening.
licensing officer next. Licensing officer.
Suba.
I'm Subhash I'm a Principal Licensing Officer and I'll be presenting the report.
Thank you. David.
Hi, I'm David Chu. I'm Team Leader Licensing and Technical Support. I'll be making representations on behalf of the Licensing Authority.
Thank you. And PC Griggs.
Good evening, PC Amanda Griggs here from the Police Licensing Unit.
Fantastic, that's great. And we have Mario on the call. He's our IT expert, and he helps with any technical problems. So thank you, Mario. So we'll move straight on to step 2, which is I'd like to invite Suba, the Principal Licensing Officer, to outline the report. Thank you, Suba.
Thank you, Chair. So the item we are going to consider this evening is for a premises license under the Licensing Act. It's for Donor Hub, 151 Hoxton Street. The applicant is seeking for the permission for late night refreshment from 2300 to midnight, Sunday to Wednesday, and from 2300 to 2 a.m. Thursday to Saturday, and to authorize the supply of alcohol for consumption on and off the premises from 10 to 2300, Monday to Sunday. Environmental Enforcement have withdrawn their representation based on agreed conditions within the report under 8.1 from 12 to 17. Representation remains from police and licensing, and we have not received any other additional information and have nothing else to add. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Any members, points of clarification at this point? Just move on. Move on, just nod. Yep, move on. Okay, so we'll move on to step 3, which is the applicant's case. So if I can invite the applicant, is that Amin Fizel?
Yes, it's me.
Okay, you've got 5 minutes.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay.
Thank
Hi. We applied for a new premise license application for late night refreshment from Sunday to Wednesday from 23 to midnight and Thursdays to Saturdays from 23 until 2, and sale of alcohol from Monday to Sunday from 10 o'clock until 23 o'clock. During the application, we received 3 representations from Environmental Health, Licensing, and Police Department, and 1 informative letter from the Planning Department, and we didn't receive any comments from the neighbors. We also accepted the conditions proposed by the Environmental Health, and also they withdrew their representation yesterday. Regarding the Planning Department, the premises has a E-class use, and we applied for a mixed class application, planning application, which is under consideration. I have also shared the reference number with David today. The representation made by the licensing department was based on the public nuisance due to its close proximity to residential area, and that takeaway orders might create noise, litter, odor, fumes, and also third-party deliveries can cause also extra noise at the area. In order to mitigate these risks, my client will have a written proper waste management system. All of its staff will be fully trained and made aware of the legal requirements of business to comply with their responsibility as regards to disposal of waste. We will also ensure that we have a contract for general and recyclable waste disposal, and this contract will be displayed. We will also instruct members of staff to make regular checks of the area immediately outside the premises and remove any litter, bottles, and glasses. And a final check will be done at the closure of the business. In addition to this, my client will also provide a safe receptacle of cigarettes ends to be placed outside for the use of customers. And secondly, we will encourage and supervise customers to...
Sorry to interrupt, Chair. I think Gareth is trying to contact you.
Well, I was about
sorry?
to say that Councillor Patrick had left the meeting, but she's now returned. So,
Okay.
yeah,
So
I was a bit worried there. But Councillor Patrick is back.
we may need to go back then. So Councillor Patrick has heard everything from the applicant's agent. So she
Yeah,
may
sorry, I
need to
didn't
go
notice
back.
that, Gareth. Sorry,
Yeah.
I was too busy reading stuff and listening.
Sorry.
So Councillor Patrick, could you tell us what you last heard so that we can go back?
All the staff will be trained on waste management.
Okay. Would you be able to resume
Yeah.
from that point? Thank you.
Yes, all staff will be fully trained and made aware of the legal requirements of businesses to comply with their responsibility as regards disposal of waste. We will ensure that we have a contract for general and recyclable waste disposal, and this contract will be displayed on the premise. We will also instruct members of staff to make regular checks of the area immediately outside the premises and remove any litter, bottles, and glasses. A final check will be done at the closure of the premise. In addition to this, my client will provide a safe receptacle for the cigarette ends to be replaced outside for the use of customers. Secondly, we will encourage and supervise customers to take their food away from the premises, either by offering takeaway option or retain them inside the premise to reduce noise levels. This will also reduce litter and minimize the impact of customers littering outside. Thirdly, we will train our staff on the importance of proper delivery procedures, including how to minimize noise while handling and packing. The orders will be delivered by third-party companies who use bikes deliveries, and we will implement contactless delivery system to minimize face-to-face interactions and reduce the need for loud conversations and communication between staff and delivery drivers. Lastly, the applicant has been, I just want to inform you that the applicant has been at the area for the last 5 years. He is also managing another place called Gözleme, which is like 5 minutes walk from his 5 minute walk from Döner Hub. Therefore, he knows the area and the residents. He will also monitor customer feedback and respond promptly to any concerns or complaints related to public nuisance. He will also work with local authorities such as the police and environmental health department to ensure compliance with regulations and prevent public nuisance. In addition to this, Metropolitan Police Department made a representation in relation to the prevention of public nuisance and prevention of crime and disorder. I already explained the measures that we will have to put in place to mitigate the public nuisance risk. In regards to prevention of crime and disorder, we will be offering alcohol with hot food orders only, so alcohol will be served with ancillary to hot food. This also covers takeaway orders or also eating customers as well. And the premise has a very
You've had
has
6
a
minutes.
yeah, the premise has a 10 seating capacity, so it's a very small place. And addition to this, alcohol will be only limited to beer only. We also ask only core hours for sale of alcohol, not to add anything to extra to the area in regards to crime or disorder. In order to avoid people gather at the venue, we will encourage customers to take their food away from the premise. We will also monitor the capacity of the premise and limit the number of customers allowed inside at any time. This will be achieved by minimum 2 trained staff members. Additionally, the premise will have a clear and visible signage that informs customers of the maximum capacity and other rules of queuing. This will prevent overcrowding and reduce the risk of crime and disorder. In addition to this, I checked the area. There are 2 pubs that work Friday, Saturday until 1 a.m. So we are not going to attract newcomers to the area, but we will be serving to people who are already at the area for other reasons. Therefore, with these mitigation measures, we believe that we can maintain a safe and secure environment for customers, staff, and residents. We would like kindly ask the subcommittee either to grant our application as it is or with extra conditions. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for that. I heard a lot of good things in that. Councillor Patrick, do you have any small points of clarification at this point before we move into the discussion phase?
So you talked about 2 pubs being open till 1. Are they open every night till 1, or do you know whether it's just the weekends? Can you hear me? Can anyone hear me?
Yep, I can
Right.
hear you.
I can hear you, Councillor.
Right, right.
I mean, did you hear that? Did you hear that?
The agent for the applicant has her microphone muted, so.
I don't think
did you hear
the
that?
agent heard me. She doesn't look.
I don't know if she's having problems with her screen because it seems to be freezing.
Sorry.
Can you hear us?
Could you repeat it again, Chair, please?
Yes, I can hear you. Can I just
Okay.
get the question again, please?
Yeah,
Yep.
sorry. You mentioned that you wouldn't bring extra people into the area, but you'd be serving pubs that are already open till 1. And I just wondered whether you knew whether these pubs were open till 1 every single night or just weekends.
One of them, the Macbeth, is open Monday, Wednesday until 11 p.m., Thursday until midnight, Friday, Saturday until 1 a.m. And there is Hall at the Moon, Monday to Thursday until 23, Friday, Sunday until 1 a.m., and Sunday again 23 p.m. And also there is also a student accommodation at the area. And also there are people also walking from all street from that street as well. So these are the possible customers that might come to the premise.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Amanda.
So I don't know if it will assist you just to clarify what is the other premises that the applicant operates. Is it a similar premises or not?
It's like a coffee shop.
Okay.
They have food and also coffee shop.
Great. Okay. I think we'll move
So
on.
is that open at night or is it just during the day?
I think they close early. It's not open late.
Right, so
It's a
presumably your
coffee shop,
applicant
so I
would be
don't
moving
assume.
from. Presumably the applicant would be moving from managing that to managing this business.
No, he's managing both actually right now.
Yeah.
Sister Gözdeme, he's managing with his brother. And this one, he's also managing by himself with another. I think he also has a partner for the premise.
Okay. Are you happy, Councillor Patrick? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on to step 4 then and invite responsible authorities to come in. So if I can invite PC Amanda Griggs, please, to come in with your contribution. Thank you.
Thanks, Chair. Our representations were made over concern about the hours requested and some lack of detail around the application. We submitted lots of questions, many of which have been answered or have been alluded to from the applicant agent tonight. These included more information about why the applicant requires both on and off sales and how this would be managed, and how would a customer be required to purchase food in order to purchase alcohol, which they have said yes they would want to. What sort of alcohol would be for sale, and again they've said it would just be beer, and how many people could be seated inside the venue, which I think was 10. The application obviously goes on to request late night refreshment until midnight, Sunday to Wednesday, and then 2 o'clock Thursday to Saturday, again for both on and off the premises. Police got concerns about the venue opening late into the night, encouraging people to gather, especially when there's opportunity to eat in the venue. People attending during these late hours will generally be those that have been out drinking and generally are more intoxicated. There's an increase in ASB when you get intoxicated. People start to gather, especially when they're walking up from Shoreditch crowd. We know what they're like now. The hours requested are also outside those stated in Hackney Council's licensing policy. Police don't believe at this time that the applicant has identified the risks of operating later hours and put in sufficient mitigation measures to warrant these hours. So the questions at the beginning, most of which were answered, but so possibly a bit more information maybe when we get to the discussion thing about actually managing the sale of alcohol a bit more.
Yeah.
But other than that, so yeah, it's the late night, it's the hours. Again, it's a residential area, quite residential, and so it's outside the core hours that in the licensing policy.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, PC Griggs, for that. I'd like to invite our licensing team, Mr. David Jewett, along. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. So my representation's in today's agenda at B4. So essentially within that, I made representation because I was concerned that the proposed hours of operation could have a negative impact on the promotion of the licensing objectives, and in particular the prevention of public nuisance. That's due to the close proximity of the premises to nearby residential premises. The activities which I'm mainly concerned about tend to be associated with late night takeaways, such as noise from customers, loitering, litter, odour, fumes, and etc. Noise caused by third-party delivery riders, etc. Which, to be fair to the applicant's agent, has addressed in her opening submission. As we've heard, the application seeks hours which are outside, which are beyond those set out in the LP3, the core hours policy within the council's statement of policy. And I did make reference to the planning, LP5 planning status, which seeks for applicants to be able to demonstrate that their proposal has the appropriate planning permission in place, which unfortunately in this case it doesn't. But since found out it goes slightly beyond that, where our colleagues in planning do actually have an enforcement notice on this particular site. Although, as we've heard from the applicant's agent, they have made a planning application which seeks to rectify that. I'm sure we'll get to this in the discussion phase, so I'll leave it there for now, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Mr. Jewett. Step five is other persons. We don't have any other persons today, so we can move straight into the discussion phase. And I'll invite Councillor Patrick to come in with a few questions.
Thank you. I suppose echoing on from licensing and the police, I do have my concerns about why I can understand why you want to be open till 2 at the weekend to serve people coming out of pubs, but we have heard about the effect of premises even serving late night refreshment and the effect it has on the area. And it really worries me that if we did give you this license, that you would keep people in the area. I know you say people are in the area, but that's the whole point. The point is that you would keep people into the area so they'd stay by a takeaway or come in and cause more disruption to the neighbourhood. So I really feel sort of 2 o'clock is quite late and against our core hours, and open till midnight during the week is for our core hours. So for selling alcohol, obviously you don't. I know you're not asking to sell alcohol after 11, which is the core hours, but it's the takeaway and the effect that has on people, keeping people in the area. So yeah, I do have concerns about that. And I wonder how you're going to manage that. I mean, you talked about signs and managing queues and but people, it's afterwards. To some extent, people also queuing up for your food, and people being in the area afterwards eating it.
Councillor Goldberg, I don't know if you are on mute or not. Please.
Yes, I am on mute. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Thank you.
I mean, do you want to try and address some of what Councillor Patrick just said?
The only difference that we have is that we have a seating area as well inside the premise, and we also have a toilet for customers. If these people are at the area, we can retain them, at a place where they can have hot food only, where they won't be able to consume any more alcohol. And they will be retained if they sit at the premise. They will be spending at least 30 minutes maybe to eat their food, and they will be also able to use the toilets as well. So I think that's also another positive side that we can have at the area. That's the only difference that we can provide in order to reduce littering, or antisocial behavior.
Councillor Patrick, are you happy with that answer?
Yeah, I'm not sure that. Yes.
Any other questions you want to ask at this point?
I'll come back, Chair.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, from my point of view, I just want to drill down a little bit in regards to, because you've mentioned on your application form that it's going to be a restaurant and a takeaway.
Yes.
So I just want to explore the restaurant side of the business. I mean, are you promoting the restaurant more, or promoting the takeaway more, or promoting them both equally?
We are promoting both equally. It's like 50% is takeaway and 50% is seated customers.
Okay.
Sometimes people prefer to eat and sit and eat. Sometimes they take as takeaway, and we also have delivery option as well, so they don't have to be with third-party companies. We do the delivery.
Yeah, and why do you want to open until 2? Why is that?
To have late night refreshment, to sell late night refreshment. He's saying, my client is saying there's some business, for late night refreshment. So that's why we applied for late night refreshment only. Actually, he's not very into his sale of alcohol. Is not his first priority.
Yeah, because obviously from our point of view, as the police said, PC Griggs mentioned that, when people are intoxicated late at night, and 2 is kind of, that's quite late. We are concerned as to how you may manage any problems that arise. So if you could just go into that. I know you said you're going to have 2 staff.
Yes.
If, for example, if you had 10 people in there that were becoming a bit rowdy, a little bit boisterous, how would you go about managing them?
Because we have only 10 seating capacity, they will supervise people and tell them, this is the maximum capacity we have, and they will manage them, saying that, sorry, we don't have any more space for seated customers, and they will supervise them.
Okay, PC Griggs, do you want to come back on that point, and then Councillor Patrick? Just on the sort of on the management issue with 10 inebriated people in a small space.
Yeah, so I'm quite concerned that you're going to have the seating area open at the same time, so you could have 10 people seated as well as a queue of people trying to order food that are potentially drunk, quite intoxicated, or you might have people just come and sit in there and stuff like this. It isn't easy trying to deal with groups. They're generally groups that have been, as they've been drinking, and they're too. If you still want to carry on people serving and cooking food, 2 people, I don't think is going to be enough sufficient to be able to manage this, because you need somebody dealing with the food, somebody taking orders presumably, and then you're now left with nobody dealing with all these people that are queuing. How do you stop what they're dealing with customers behind the counter? How are you dealing with people that are this side of the counter ordering food, possibly outside? I would be thinking about not having the seating area open at all, to be honest with you, and literally after 11 o'clock, perhaps when the sale of alcohol closes, just having takeaway only and not having people sitting in, because then you close that area off and you've only got that small front bit to work with, and you're dealing with people and getting rid of them rather than containing them and keeping them together. As soon as they're seated together in that area, I think that's when you're going to have problems.
Okay. I understand that. If it's something that's acceptable, my client will be accepting that option as well. He can remove the tables and chairs and just have takeaway orders only.
Okay, thank you for that. Councillor Patrick.
Sorry, I was going to. They've accepted that. I was going to suggest that if they didn't accept that they might need perhaps a door supervisor to manage the queues and and be available to deal with any incidences inside. As PC Greg said, 10 rowdy people inside and people outside, and the staff will be busy cooking and taking orders, so they do need somebody else. But if they're going to shut the inside at 11, if we agree to the late night license, that's I think that will deal with that problem.
Yep.
But I was going to ask about delivery drivers.
Yep.
I think the agent Amina mentioned delivery drivers. Most takeaways now seem to function by not only people turning up in person to collect the food, but people order online and delivery drivers collect it. We know that there's often a problem with delivery drivers in the sense that they hang around causing noise and disturbance. The noise from their bikes, the noise of the drivers talking, not being disruptive on purpose, but just basically talking and shouting and to each other. And so we wondered whether you've got any policy about the delivery drivers and how you're going to manage them and where you're going to ask them to park. And because Hoxton Street's quite a busy street, I don't know what the parking's like down there, but I'd be interested in how you're going to manage the delivery drivers.
Yeah. Thank you, Councillor Patrick. Good question.
I spoke with my client today. He's just said he's using these online delivery systems, Uber Eats, Just Eat, these companies. And he told me that most of the deliveries are done by bikes. So bikes, bikes only. And also there is an area at the back office.
I missed what you said about the delivery driver. Sorry.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I hear everything.
Yeah, he told me that most of the deliveries are done by bikes at the premise, and also at the back of the premise there is an area where the delivery drivers doesn't need to be on Hoxton Street. There's an area at the back office premise where the delivery drivers can pick up orders as well, which can also reduce noise levels or which will prevent noise levels. In addition to this, because this is like an online system, there won't be any talking. They will come and directly pick up. So they will also train the staff as well to prevent any noise occurring from deliveries.
Yeah. Would you be happy for us to condition a delivery management plan, that you draft a delivery management plan as to how you're going to deal with that? I can see you, Amanda, and I can see you, PC Griggs. Would you be happy with that, Amin?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Amanda?
Sorry, Chair, apologies, I've now forgotten my question. I think I was going to ask you, sorry, it's gone, disregard
Okay.
it.
PC Griggs.
Thank you, Chair. Just one quick concern, saying using the rear of the premises for collections and stuff. That's near a residence and lots of blocks of flats and stuff. So I'd be careful and be cautious about using that, because you're sending people nearer to a bigger concentration of residents. So just to think about using that rear area, because it is nearer the flats and that behind the premises.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to respond to that one, Amin? Acknowledge it.
I think there's a new building at the rear. I don't think there's any access to upper floors from the rear. I think the access is from the front. But I need to check that. So at the rear, I don't know if there's any residential flats that are used right now. I'm not really sure about that.
Yeah. I mean, just on the deliveries, I mean, you did mention you already in your submission mentioned a delivery management system, and I've written down the question beside that. You know, how are you going to manage? Do you just want to go into a little bit of detail about how you will? I'm getting a bit of feedback from somewhere. Is that coming from your microphone, I mean?
Yeah, sorry for that.
Yeah, it's a little bit distracting. So if you could ask them to move away from the microphone, that would be helpful.
Sorry, I'm at the airport actually. That's why that's the problem.
Okay, well, that's going to be difficult then.
Yeah.
Okay, well, look, do you want to just go into how you would, the venue would manage delivery drivers? How would you do that?
Are you asking in terms of sale of alcohol, or is it just
delivery drivers? Just delivery drivers turning up late at night. How would you manage them? Yeah, you've gone on to mute.
For delivery drivers, we will ask companies to send us like staff training records, and we will supervise them not to make noise during pickup of food. They will also be trained for sale of alcohol. During the deliveries, they need to check an ID when they drop the deliveries. And if there is any problem, they need to record refusal logs as well.
Yep. I suppose the point is that Councillor Patrick was making, there needs to be solid engagement between, the venue managing these delivery people turning up, because ultimately, if any problems arose as a result of those delivery drivers causing public nuisance, then that's going to jeopardize your business. So it's really important that there's a strong relationship, and they know exactly when they're coming to your venue how to behave. That's the point we're trying to make. So, and that's what the delivery management plan would be, sort of concerned with. Really, it would involve protocol around how the venue deals with the delivery people. Yeah.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Did I have to ask any other questions? You've talked about the member of staff. 10 people in the yeah, that's right. Conditions so far that you've agreed to for alcohol is for sale ancillary to hot food.
Yes.
So you're accepting that condition? Yes.
Yes.
There'll be just takeaway after 11 o'clock, so the seating area will be closed after 11.
Yes.
Yeah. And the final thing that I'd like to discuss, maybe, David, do we need to go into the enforcement notice at all and the planning, or are we happy to just leave it there?
Well, it's something I just brought to the attention of the subcommittee. So there is that planning enforcement notice which colleagues have served, and some of the reason for serving it is relevant to the promotion of the licensing objectives. It's mainly that's the reason why I've raised it.
So you need to be obviously you're aware of that. I mean, and that's another important aspect you need to get sorted out. Amanda,
we also made an appeal to this enforcement notice as well, so it's at appeal right now. And in the meantime, we also made a planning application, which is under consideration. So we are trying to sort this out as well in the meantime.
Yeah, Amanda, did I see your hand? Was that an accident?
Yes, Chair. I was just going to say that we could put a planning informative on the decision, depending on obviously what the outcome is. So that would be a reminder to the applicant that they have a responsibility to resolve the planning issues before they can operate the licence. And also, Chair was going to suggest that, sorry, it's gone, sorry, apologies. I'll stop there. Thank you.
Okay. And one last thing, I mean, in terms of core hours, you know what our core hours are, don't you, LP3?
Yes.
It's essentially, to 11 every night and then to 12, Friday and Saturday.
Yes.
How would you feel, how would your client feel about, moving to core hours Monday to Thursday and then Friday and Saturday until 1 and Sunday to 11? How would that, the reason why I say that is because it's a brand new license. There's I'm slightly concerned that after 1 o'clock, moving it to 2, that essentially you might be one of the only places open until 2 along there. And therefore you would, be experiencing maybe, a large number of intoxicated people. You could come back again later when you've sort of proven, good practice. To extend the license, but I just wanted to find out how you'd feel about that. Would you be willing to consider that?
Yes, I totally understand the concerns, and I think you will be willing to reduce hours until 1 o'clock Friday, Saturday, and also core hours on the other days, right?
Yeah, so that would be to 11 o'clock essentially on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And also Sunday, and then Friday and Saturday until 1.
1. Okay, that will be great.
Well, thank you very much for that. That's fantastic, and that gives you a chance to kind of prove your track record. And obviously, if things are going well, then you could maybe come back again for that extended hour if you've got good management practices in hand. Okay, Councillor Patrick, are you content?
Sure.
Fantastic. Okay, well, I think we can move off the discussion phase now. I think we've had a good discussion. Thank you, everyone. And just move into closing remarks. So I'd just like to invite PC Griggs to come in with your closing remarks and how you feel now that we've sort of ironed out a few of these problems.
Thank you very much, Chair. Yeah, I'm much happier with now we've sorted out the seating and closing the seating area after 11 o'clock. I'd be interested to have a look at any delivery management plan and assist if they need to, and we have discussions around that. But that's certainly much happier than we were, and obviously we definitely welcome the alcohol being ancillary to the hot food and the reduction in hours. So it's definitely going in. We're happier than we were coming into this, definitely.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, just on the working with them on the delivery management plan, I mean, could you just have sort of informal conversations with them about crowd management as well? Just share your professional expertise on that with them in a kind of informal sort of way. That would be helpful.
Yeah, no problem.
And then we've got Mr. Jewett.
I'm I'm still concerned about the fact that there is a planning enforcement notice which would suggest that planning colleagues are concerned about harm as a result of the existing activity. So the activity at this site during the existing hours of operation, and we're minded, or it sounds like you're minded to grant even extended hours beyond that. So I'm concerned about additional negative impact on the promotion of the licensing objectives. Obviously, we've heard that the planning enforcement notice has been appealed and application has been made, but there's no guarantees that that appeal and that application will be successful. Which, if that is the case, then it's a long process for planning colleagues to be able to resolve that issue. So I do think it's important to bring that to members' attention so they can take that into consideration.
Okay, well, thank you for that, Mr. Stewart. That's kind of helpful. And then finally, Amin, do you want to come in with your closing remarks, please? Maybe make some comments around the planning stuff that might be useful for us.
Okay. We are aware that both licensing and planning needs to have, together in order for him to operate until late hours, regarding change of use and also operating hours. As I said, we have a planning application in place. When I talked to the enforcement officer, she was much positive regarding we applied for a mixed use rather than just takeaway, because we also had seating in the seating area in the premise. So I'm hoping it will be approved. So we are aware that these licensing and planning should go together. Otherwise, you cannot trade late hours.
Yeah. And just on the extractor fan, can you say something that will give us confidence that you will sort out the problems with the extractor fan?
Yes, we also applied for the flue system. We made it 1 meter up from the eaves. So we need to wait until the decision comes. They have a really actually good system with an ESP system that has high odor and noise control. The only thing that they need to do is just to move it 1 meter up the eaves. Yeah.
So as long as that's within statutory guidelines, then in theory that should be acceptable, I would suggest. But that's a very important point there. So I'd just like you to take that one away. The extractor fan needs to be compliant with all the statutory regulations. I think that's it, folks. Unless there are any other points of clarification, Councillor Patrick, have we missed anything? Are we happy to move on? Okay, well, there's no more business to attend to here in this meeting, so let's call it to a close. Thank you, everyone, for participating. Thank you, Amin.
Thank you very much.
Peter Griggs for coming along, Mr. Stewart for coming along, and for all our observers. I hope you enjoyed it. And for Mario, thank you very much, everyone, and Gareth, of course, and Suba and Amanda. So everyone just have a lovely evening. And Amin, I just ask you to leave the call now. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you.
All the best. Take care.